again, welcome back. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today I'm going to be working on making some cards, and I'm going to be using the Paper Rose Holiday Fun collection. I'm going to actually make 3 Christmas cards, and I'm going to make 3 non-Christmassy cards out of the same collection. So we'll see how we go with that. Some of them are quite easy, others of them are a little bit more challenging, but most of the time they're fairly easy to do. Okay, so let's have a little look at what I'm using. I'm using the Paper Rose Holiday Fun. Now, I'm not using the 12 by 12 paper collection. I'm only using the 6 by 6 paper collection and the 6 by 6 Holiday Fun Basics. Hopefully that's not too glary. I'm also going to be using the embossed die cuts, and I also purchased the cut aparts. Now the cut aparts have 18 single-sided sheets in them, and I cut up 6 sheets because there's 6 different designs. So I cut up one of each page, and you can see how much is left. So I still have 12 sheets in the pack. So there's a lot in it that you get. So that's on the side there. Now I did, like I said, I didn't use the 12 by 12 paper collection, but I did use the cover sheet, and the reason is it had lots of sentiments on the back. So I have cut up the sentiments and used them in the cards. But we'll get started. Okay, so let's have a little look at the cards. I have come up with 3 different layouts, and I'm going to do 2 cards in each layout, with a Christmas one and a non-Christmas one. I have also done some dimensions, so I'll put them on the screen just at the top there, so that you can do a screenshot if you want. I do have the metric and the imperial. Okay, so this first design, you can see I have a fairly basic Christmas card layout with some of the die cuts, embossed die cuts, and a band across it. I've used 2 different pattern papers, but you could just use the same pattern paper. And I don't know whether you can pick it up, but I've put in some of the crystal gems, the Paper Rose crystal gems, just down on here as well. And then on the inside, I've just used a bit of scrap and I've mounted it. I like to leave the inside of the card blank, because then I can come back and stamp it with whatever I want later, or if I'm giving them away, people can write whatever they want. So this one here is the non-Christmassy one. It's got 3 little birds and it's blank on the inside as well. So that's our 2 designs. We'll pop one to the side. We'll start with the Christmas one. And I have done quite a bit of prep so that we can get through this. I've mounted inside already the mount, and the dimensions are there, and you can see here that I actually used 2 different papers to create the background. But like I said, you could use the same one if you wanted to, the same pattern paper. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just going to double-sided tape this together so that it creates the background paper, or the pattern paper, and it essentially is now the size of what our pattern paper is. All right, I'll just put a little bit of glue on the back and glue this down. I don't put a massive amount of glue on because I don't like the glue to shine through the paper. Now it only has a very small border, this one. I use a microfiber cloth to just clean up some of the excess glue. I have cut the band, and I'm going to pop that band on as well. Now, do I have some news for you? It has actually been a while since I've done a video, to be honest. Been very, very busy with all the things on my plate. Work and grandchildren and traveling, and I think I mentioned that I went interstate. Well, and I think on the last video that I did, which was a haul video. I had a bit of a croaky voice and I felt like I was coming down with something. Well, I did come down with something. I ended up getting COVID. So I've kind of had a week of getting it and then dealing with it and then it starting to go away. So I'm feeling much better, but I still have that niggly cough. Okay, so on here you can see that I'm going to use these embossed die cuts, and I'm just going to pop this one down, but you can see that I have um, packed this one up, and I'll show you on another one how I do that. I just trace around it and then cut some scrap out to build up the piece so that it sits level. I like it to sit level on the card. It's very, very easy to do, and you just then cut within the line that you've drawn. The images in this collection are beautiful. They're a little bit quirky, and they have kind of like an artsy kind of edge to them, an artsy look. And there's a little bit of a European kind of look to them as well, especially the houses and some of the characters. They look a little bit European, which I love that. So you can see we're just sticking Santa on there with a reindeer in the background. And I have cut out a sentiment, and I've just actually inked the edges of that to take off the real white edge. I've just inked it with some black soot ink, distress ink, just to get rid of that edge on the black. You can kind of see it. And I'm just going to mount that down the bottom. And I'll come back later on and glue on some more gems on that. But you can see that was very easy. And he looks very cute. And that's where the gems are there. I've just put 3 little gems on there. So that was card 1. Now let's do card 2 the same way. But most of it prepped. You can see that I've stuck the inside down. And once again, I'll just join these 2 together with some double-sided tape. I sometimes like to use, with this design, I sometimes like to use the same, or like just one sheet of pattern paper, but then other times I like to break it up, and it's really good for using up scrap. If you've got scrap, little small pieces to join a couple together. All right, we'll just stick this down on the black mount. Give it a little bit of a burnish on the back. And I'm going to mount this on now. You could use any sizes here, and you could use any size of the band as well. You could use just whatever scrap you've got, which is kind of what I'm doing. I'm just using what I'd already pre-cut up for other cards. I suppose the important part is that you've got to get the back pattern paper covering your mount. But other than that, you can have whatever sizes that you're wanting. This collection is very happy. It's, like I said, it's a little bit quirky. I really like some of these birds and their googly eyes. And they all have sort of like a startled, surprised look to them. Now I'll show you. You can see that on this one I've prepped this here, but I'll actually show you how I do it. So I've started this one, but what I do is I just draw around the element that you want to cut some backing for. I just sketch a little line around it, and Then I just fussy cut well within the lines, maybe 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters, and a 1/16 of an inch within the line that you've done. And it means that you can kind of fussy cut some of the shapes. Now you usually have to adjust it. You can see how quick that was. It wasn't difficult at all. And then turn him over and see what you need to adjust. Yeah. And then I just put a little bit of glue on the back. And stick that on. And it just builds it up so that you can put them on the card and they're not wobbling all over the place. Or if you're posting them, it will increase the thickness of it, so you might need to pay some postage, but they won't get all bent while they are getting posted. So you can see that I've done a few different levels here just to pack it out. And then you just glue it down as per usual. So we've got a nice big googly-eyed big owl. And this little guy here, he's my favorite. He is super adorable. They look pretty good. I've just cut a little flag just to go under this one, so that it gives the appearance of him being a little bit more grounded. Little banner. And we'll just trim this up so that it has a bit of an angle on it. And you can see that you could use this card for anything. It says hello there or hi there, and you could use it for birthday. You could use it for just sending a greeting to somebody or a get well, whatever. And it could be a birthday card because of their hats. Kind of looks a little bit birthday, but it doesn't have to be Christmas. Okay, so that's card 1 and 2, and there's our 4 cards. They're the same layout, but these 2 Christmassy, these 2 not as Christmassy, and there's our dimensions. So I'll just leave that there if you'd like to do a screenshot for a moment. Okay, we'll start on the next one. So this is card 3 and 4. And I've done a Christmas card, but I've made it so that it is a gift card holder card. So you can see that I have a template here that I just print. I make these on Word, create a box around the corners and put something, a text box in it, and print them out on just some A4 cardstock. And then I cut them all up. And when I'm giving a card or selling a card that has a little pocket in it, that is designed for a gift card, you can see that it says insert gift card here, and I sell the card with that in it, just so it prompts people. But this is a really quick and easy design, and it holds a card, holds a gift card. So that's our card that we're making, very Christmassy. So how you make this card is you just score your card as normal, and then you open it up and you score it from the right hand edge. You score it 3 centimeters, which is 1 3/16 approximately, from the right hand edge. And then you just fold that piece in. And then that glues down and it becomes your pocket. So let's do that. We'll glue it down first. Put a bit of glue on the ends, glue that down. Okay, now I've got a piece of pattern paper to go in the background, inside the card, to create a background. And that's because we want the edge to shine through on the front. So you can see here, I want that nice patterned edge to shine through or show on the front of the card. Okay, we'll just glue the piece of white card on the inside so that you can put your sentiment on there. And close to the edge, the same distance around on the top left hand side and right hand side. and then when you close the card it should just miss showing on the front. Then we have our pattern paper and our cardstock for the front of the card. So I'll just glue that on here. I like the colour scheme in this. It's a little bit different than what normal Christmas is. It's not like the traditional red and green. I like that it has the red, but I'm liking that it's got lots of blacks and greys. And I just die cut out a rectangle, and you could just, if you don't have a die, it's got a stitched edge on it, nice stitched edge, but I didn't have ones. The next step down was too big of a difference, so I didn't worry about die cutting the white card. So you don't really need to have a die cut. You could just cut out 2 rectangles, to be honest. And we're going to put that on there, but before we do, I'll just put this little piece of pattern paper on the inside to cover that pocket. I see that Paper Rose has brought out quite a few lovely Easter collections. If you go to their website, which I will link below actually, so that you can find this collection, but they have some really lovely Easter collections out at the moment. Now I'm just leveling that up from side to side, top to bottom, and just checking that I don't have any glue seeping out the side. And I'm going to put the sentiment on first to set my parameters. I inked the edge of that one as well, bit of distress ink. Just be jolly. Okay, so that will just pack that tree up a little bit. Okay, let's glue him down. And I don't think I'm going to worry about the owl. I think I'm just going to glue him down. Over here has got a couple of thicknesses of cardstock. There we go. That was pretty easy to put that together. And we've got a nice little pocket there to put our gift card in. Perfect for a Christmas voucher for somebody. So there's our 2 little people. Now you'll notice, I don't know whether you've picked it up in the camera or not, but I didn't purchase 2 lots of the embossed die cuts. These are the embossed die cuts here, and they've got that lovely glossy embossing treatment on it. I might just glue his hand down. But I usually purchase the cut aparts because you get so much in it. So these ones here are the cut aparts, and I have gone around them with glossy accents. And what I tend to do is I tend to pull out the ones that look the same, and then I let that guide me a little bit in how I'm going to do it. And I'm not sure whether you can see, it looks pretty good. And I tend to just draw with it. I don't do big blobs or anything. You can see also that I've put on some little crystals there by Paper Rose as well. So the glossy accents doesn't look anywhere near as good as the embossed treatment. So I wouldn't use it to replace it, but if you're wanting to get a little bit of a similar look, it definitely works. All right, let's do the next one. So you can see here, this one I did the butterflies, and I have done the same design, but I've just used the non-Christmassy paper. So let's glue all these down. We'll start by doing the same thing again, gluing down our pocket first. Got everything cut, so let's glue down this piece of butterfly paper. I'm actually looking forward to next week. I think I'm going to do another project with the bees and butterflies. I have done something with the bees and butterflies. What did I do? I think I did the quick cards collection and made 3 of the ones that they give you instructions for, and then I made 3 of my own design. So that is on the channel. I can link it below. And I just check the measurement of this because the other one was not quite right. Now this one's fine. So I am looking forward to getting back onto that because I really want to I've got a project in mind actually of something a little bit different and to showcase that collection. But it's beautiful. It's one of the nicest ones that I am playing with at the moment that I love. Okay, so there we have stuck down the inside of the card. Nice and easy. Got a little bit of glue there, but that will come off with an eraser. These are just glue erasers, and you can get them at your arts and crafts suppliers. Glue the paper onto the mount first. To be honest, I don't make a lot of cards. I used to make a lot of cards and give them away to charity for them to do fundraisers. I used to volunteer at a charity, a particular charity, and I would make a whole stack of cards and then they would put them for sale. So that's what I used to do. But now that I've gone back to work, because I retired very early. I had a bit of a reaction to something and I ended up losing my sight for a little while and had to finish work. And so then I was retired really very young while my eyes were getting a bit better. And then as they started to get better, I did a little bit of voluntary work. And so I would make a lot of cards and they would use them to sell and raise some money. Okay, so all I'm doing here, I've die cut out a decorative circle and then I've die cut out another circle. Now you could do these as whatever size you want. I have put on the dimensions there the size that I used, but you could use whatever size circles that you've got, any dies or punches or whatever. So it doesn't have to be the exact same circle size that I've got. And then I've cut out a white piece of cardstock and I've just run it through and put an embossed surface on it just so it's got a little bit of interest on it. And I'm going to glue this on here. But before I do, I'm going to just drop in. You can see here I've got a little bit of black cotton. Now, I don't know whether you can see it on this one. It's just around the edge. And I just put it on just as a little bit of textural interest. And I just want it on the card, but I don't want it to hang over the edge. But I've just set that there. And then when I glue this on, it should bind it in place. So I'm just going to glue a semicircle. Just watch where you are gluing. You don't want to go over the edge. And it's just got a little bit of texture to it with the thread. Any bits that are out that you don't want, just tuck them back in, like the end of the thread. Okay, that looks good. I'll just put a little bit of glue in here. I really want the edge of this to catch. So what I was saying, I used to make a lot of cards when I was retired. But as my eyes got better over the years, I am now at a stage where I don't have to look after the grandchildren as often because they're both now in big school. As some of you would know, I've been talking about my granddaughter starting big school. So I've kind of gone back to like just a little casual job that doesn't put too much strain on my eyes. So back to the story of the cards. I used to make a lot of cards and give them away. Well, now that I'm working, I've kind of I'm not doing the volunteer work anymore because it clashes with the days that I need to work. And a few things changed there too. They weren't really selling them anymore. So that's sort of come to an end. So I don't make a lot of cards anymore. However, there is the exception to the rule. I love using the Paper Rose quick card kits, and lots of you out there that use them love them too because they're so convenient, and there's so much variety that you can do with them because you get so much in the pack as well. Like you get a good amount of supplies in the pack, and so you can make some of the suggestions that they suggest, but then there's enough supplies for you to do a few other things. Okay, so I'm just going to glue these on. You can see how easy this card has been, really. It's not been difficult at all. And I will come back in. I'm not sure whether you can see I've done those crystals again. So I've got a few crystals down here, one here, and they look nice. When you open them up, you can still see the crystals on this edge here. They give a little bit of dimension. Hopefully I wasn't out of the frame then. So you can see there's some crystals there. So I'll put a few crystals on that later on. But there's our second card. So let's have a little look at those. I'll just move this over and clear it so that you can take a screenshot if you'd like to of these 4 cards. So the 2 Christmas cards and our 2 non-Christmassy cards. And once again, I used the glossy accents. So the cards that I'm making today with you, I am using the embossed die cuts. But the cards that I made as the sample, I made out of the cut aparts and I used glossy accents on them. So hopefully that's in the view. There we go. Okay, let's move on to cards 5 and 6. So here we have a Christmas card. We have this cute little lady here, and she's putting a hand out going, look at all these presents. We've got so many Christmas presents at the moment. And sending joyful wishes to you, thinking you're going to be very happy once you open all these presents. On the inside, I've just cut down a scrap of the presents and mounted it the same. So you can see that I have not back mounted this one. I didn't mount the back of that one, and I didn't put a band on this because this circle here was so dominant that I didn't want there to be a mount on the back of this to distract from this focal point. On the next card, you'll see I did mount it. So the instructions here, the dimensions have a mount or non-mount. If you're not using a mount, cut the paper size, the pattern paper size as the mount size. So, but I'm sure you can work that out. Okay, very, very quick and easy. Once again, we have just a few components. We have a sentiment, we have our die cuts, embossed die cuts. We have, like I said, a piece of pattern paper, and I'm cut it the size of the mount, and I cut the band the width of the mount And then I have, once again, I've just die cut out a circle and then a smaller circle and ran that through the embossing and embossed a dot on it so that it has a bit of interest to it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to actually glue the pattern paper down first. Notice that I'm not sure whether other people use a lot of glue, but I try not to use too much glue, wet glue, when I'm making cards, because sometimes it leaves a bit of an impression on the inside, and I'm okay with there being a line impression, but I don't like it when there's an impression, a squiggly impression on the inside of the card, like where you've put glue. So I tend to just do the rectangle and then, wait and see. Most of the time I have not had a problem with it coming apart. Art glitter glue seems to be able to keep things fairly stuck together. Okay, the next thing, I'm not going to glue the band down first. I'm actually going to glue the circle to the band because I want to get the height correct. So I'm going to glue this to the edge of the band first, get it figured out widthways. So from this side, I'm just looking at how far I want it from the edge, and I'm just aligning it with the band at the moment. You can see with these cards I've used a variety of some papers out of the collection and some out of the basics. Now, I should really put a little piece of scrap on there, and I think I will. So I'm just using a little bit of scrap to pack the back of the circle, just to support it a bit. I don't want it to bend. I want it to stay fairly stable. All right, we can glue that on now, and now what I'm looking at is I'm looking at making sure that I get it the same distance from here and from the top. Put some glue on the back of that now. And you can see that I use more glue when I'm gluing onto paper to paper rather than paper to cardstock, where you can see through the back of the card, because you're not going to see that now because of the pattern paper that we've put down. All right, that's pretty good. Give it a little bit of a rub, and then we can put our feature lady on, who's saying, "Are these presents all for me?" Or she might be saying, "These presents are all for you." I'm kind of thinking that she's hoping that they're all for her, to be honest. Because it's gluing onto an embossed surface that's uneven, I'm going to put a reasonable amount of glue down. I just want it to go off the edge a little bit, break that circle up, and I just want her little star up there to go off as well. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I just had to cut that out of the video. I just had a massive big coughing fit. That's the one thing about COVID, is that you feel better, but you keep having this tickly cough that keeps grabbing you. We'll stick that down now. So you can see that I've packed that up with a few bits of offcut. She's very cute, isn't she? Paper Rose definitely makes it very, very easy to create beautiful cards. Okay, let's go do the last one. Now the last one is probably my favorite. When I saw this paper, and I think that I actually said this in the haul video, and I will link the haul video for this collection below. When I saw this paper and I saw the the red line on this, I thought to myself, oh, I've got to put some birds on that. So I will actually pull that out. Okay, so I've just pulled out this piece of paper from the 6x6 paper pack, collection pack, and I'll cut it and show you how I made this one. Now, this card is the same as this. However, I've changed the things that I've used as the feature. It still has a band happening with it. It's just that this time the band is houses or buildings. And instead of it being a big circular feature, it's this building here as the feature. So it's kind of the same layout. It's just using the elements a little bit differently. You can see here that I did mount this one onto a black mount, and the size of that mount is there, and that's the size that we cut this pattern paper to. Okay, so I'll show you how I cut this so that you can get all of the elements out of it. So what I did was I just put the paper in, and I went to just at the top of the last roof, and then I cut that off. And then I fussy cut all around this, and that's how I got this. So this that I've just cut off became this, and it left me with this piece here. So then that was the piece that I used to create my background. And what I did was I actually cut it down, and I cut the excess off the bottom, and I cut it off this narrow side here so that I kept the width, the maximum amount of height here. So that's how I cut that down to get the background. Okay, so let's make this one. I love this. I love all the little birds on it. And as you can see, I've made it into a thank you card. It says thanks heaps. And it could be for anything. It could be for a housewarming, or it could be, thanking somebody that's helped you with, giving you a meal, or it could be a birthday card for a man, or lots of things. So I've stuck the inside in. You can see that I just used one of the runs, the border pattern on one of the designs as the decoration on the inside. So actually the first thing we want to do is we want to glue our houses to the background. And you can see here I have another stack of houses that I cut out of the cutter parts. And this one, the feature, is actually out of the die cuts. And I'm going to add that in there so that it gives layers of dimension. It looks like it's got background and distance. So I'm just looking at how far I want this to sit. So what I'll do first is I actually will sit that there, and I'll put glue on the back of this one first and glue it down, and then I can work out exactly where it needs to sit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my finger through that and move the glue to the tips of the roofs, because I really want them to bite. And I want the tips of the houses to just touch that line. Now I'm going to glue this on. So I'm actually going to get my mat, because I want to get some glue onto those roofs. So once again, I'm just going to run my finger through that glue and push that glue up to the tips of the roofs so that they get a little bit on the edge. And now I can put this on. I love putting dimension, like the look of dimension, into compositions, even if it's just, even with a card. When I'm doing collage work, I really enjoy creating scenes that have got depth. So that's possibly why I liked this one so much. All right, I'll just cut off a little bit of that overhang. I left a little bit of overhang just so that I wasn't leaving myself short. Excellent. So now I can glue that onto the background, and I will put a bit in the center of that one because it's got a bit of weight to it and it's going onto a mount, but I won't put glue in the middle of the mount. Let's put some of our little birds on. Now I have cut out, and I know that some of you that don't like fussy cutting would just not like to do this at all, but I love the idea of the birds on a wire so much that I had to do it. I had to cut some birds out. We have some little birds, and I just cut them out of one of the sheets of paper that have birds on it. Wasn't very hard to do. It was a little bit fiddly, but I think the end result is worth it. These two here are having have a chat. This little guy here, he is not sure whether he's got a friend. He's trying to make a friend, I think, this one. And this guy here, he likes sitting at the very top of the wire and being the boss. Kind of feels important up there. And this one is not sure of him. He's not sure whether he should challenge the leadership. Don't think he'd have a chance, actually. Huh? Yeah, they're pretty cute. Very, very cute. I won't put him on because I like odd numbers. So I think 5's a good number. All right. Now let's glue this down. Like I said, I'll only put one run of glue around that. I don't want to put wiggly ones in the middle. We're going to work out where we want this, and you can see that I've also put some dimensional foam tape on the back of this so that it has some height to it. I don't really like seeing the edge of the card when you've got black on the surface. All right, let's glue him down, and we're getting close to the end. I'm just lifting that up a little bit. I don't want them all to be at the same level. Yeah, let's stick that one down. Okay, you can see I've just taken off the release paper on the back. I did put some dimensional tape on it. I like that. See how it's got a step here, different depths. Okay, so that's the last one. Well, I'll bring out the other ones so that you can see those and get a screenshot if you would like one. So that's cards 5 and 6. Now I don't think I showed you where I'd put the crystals on this one. I put 3 little crystals down the bottom. I'm not sure whether you can pick those up on the camera. And with this lady, she's got a few down here and then dotted around the presents. So I'll do those later on the cards I've just made. Okay, so these are the 12 cards that we've come up with today using the Paper Rose Holiday Fun Collection 6x6, and I also used some sheets out of the Holiday Fun Basics. I used the embossed die cuts, and I also used the cut aparts. And when I used the cut aparts, I put some glossy accent on it. I also did, like I mentioned, I cut out the sentiments all from the cover page of the 12x12. So yeah, I'm really happy with how they turned out. If you like the cards today and you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That'd be great. And if you'd like to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it to help the channel grow. And I will see you very soon with some more projects. Thanks again, and bye for now.